Talked a little bit about handling highs and lows. You guys had the momentum in the first quarter. They missed the field goal. You picked up a first down, and I think on second down, K1 took a pretty big sack that basically killed that drive. It may have given them some momentum. I wonder on film, did you notice any real difference in maybe the body language or the way guys were playing, especially after that play?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I didn't think they were like they were against Kentucky in that game.
Yeah.
Again, that's why I go back to shooting ourselves in the foot. It was one guy. He missed the block. He went the wrong way. And that was his guy. He picked him up. We got a guy open, probably have a big play. Rather than doing that, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. Now it's second and 15.
Right.
And again, those are hard downs to overcome at times. We're not good enough to put ourselves in that position yet against a good football team.
I know that. Sorry.
As far as the defensive backfield goes, those guys are, a lot of the guys that you're playing are really young. You've got other guys that are, like Darius Brooks, this is his only year he's ever done this. He's been an offensive player. It was a rough game for them, but was there something in there that maybe you found that you could tell them that this is something to work off of? I know that the learning curve's got to be maybe even higher for that group because they're just so young.
Well, it's just, they got to be confident. Guys just get a little nervous. And I don't know if it's because of the level of competition that we're playing or what. And look at those guys compared to those receivers they had. Like, you strike a little fear in your heart a little bit too, but you just watch them on film. They just don't look like they're playing with a lot of confidence more than anything. And you gotta have confidence playing the corner. You just gotta have a lot of confidence. And I didn't think those guys played with a lot of confidence. But again, those younger guys got in there, and yes, because they don't know any better, they played with confidence and they got some things done.
Do you anticipate maybe letting, you mentioned Arias and Tyree as guys that impressed you a lot after the game? I mean, obviously maybe, I'm thinking you probably didn't see anything different when you watched them on film, but do you anticipate those guys playing a lot more, maybe even starting this week?
Yes, I do. We're going to play guys that's going to help us win ball games. We're going to play guys that do things that we ask them to do. And it goes back to the production world. We're going to produce. Bad things happen. Produce. Keep good things happen. So, again, we're still evaluating our roster. And it's preseason right now going on. We got another tough preseason game coming up for these guys. See what they can do.
Those two specifically, do they still have stuff to prove this week to you if they're going to get a start, or are they penciled in right now as a start?
They gotta have a good week of practice. If you have a bad week of practice, you're not gonna play. I'm not gonna put you out there. I'm not gonna do that as a head coach. You got to show them that you're ready during the week. And as a coach, you feel a lot more comfortable with them going out there. So they got to go out and have a great week of practice. And if they want to be the guy once we get out there on Saturdays, same thing with other guys too. They got to have a great week of practice.
This year's been a year personally of milestones for you. Your first game as head coach, your first home game as head coach. This is kind of another one. I would imagine, in a different way, emotionally, this is going to be kind of interesting for you to go back home and be able to kind of bring your team back home. You've coached down there before, but now you're the head guy.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be like it was last week.
Okay.
Last week was different. I was back here at home and never seen Howard Smith Stadium like that before in person. And that was big for me, and just wanted so much for us to play well for our fans. I think all of that emotion really was big for me last week. I really wanted us to play like we're capable of playing for our fans, to let them know that we're a lot better team, we're headed in the right direction. No matter what anybody say, I want them to see them and show a glimpse and show like I thought we would. But going back to South, going down to Tampa, it's gonna be nice. You have a lot of family and friends right there, but I want our football team to play well. I want them to show and play like they're capable of playing. I guess me as a head coach, I know how good we can be, and I know where our team can go. We're not doing it right now, and a little bit of that is frustrating. But I remind myself, we're playing against some really good football teams too. You look at the Indiana game. At the end of the day, they best player play better than I better play. And they're a better football team.
Yeah, I know we joked about it a little bit at the end of Thursday last week, but you had success in your trip down to Tampa as a player. How much of going back kind of to where you grew up is pride a factor? I know it's always a factor for you, but how does it maybe seem a little more amplified as you go back home, both as a player now as a head coach, kind of wanting everybody to be able to see kind of what's being accomplished, so to speak?
I mean, it's always pride, but more important pride because all of them going to be there. You're going to have all your family and friends there watching and wanting to see you do well. So you want to go out and impress them. I always been one of those guys that want to impress my parents, make them proud of me. And I'm going back in front of them again and want to impress them again. But I want our football team to impress South Florida. That's what I want our football team to do. When we leave there, I want them to be impressed with our football team.
Aside from you getting to go back home, you got a ton of players that are going to be back kind of around the same area or within an hour car ride drive or whatever it is. How many friends and family and that sort of thing do you anticipate being in the stands, I guess?
I anticipate us having a big crowd there in Raymond James Stadium, and I just try to remind those guys, like for myself, it was personal for me when I went back as a player. I hadn't played football in the state of Florida since high school when I went back there, and I was a senior. So those guys, you're going back home. You go back and represent, and let them know that you take care of business, and like it's another great opportunity for our guys. Playing a caliber team in South Florida, another opportunity to go out there and get noticed, and I think they should be fired up about that more than anything because it's a really good South Florida team, and we want to play well and see what we can do.
I know you probably can't accommodate anybody, but do you even have a ballpark figure of the number of people that you personally are going to ticket for Saturday's game?
Well, everybody's not going to be able to get a ticket. Can't get them all.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to come out of the pocket and pay for their own. But I know my mom and dad's going to have one.
Yeah.
I know that's for sure. But everybody's not going to be able to get one. And I try to get as many people as I can. But again, if they really want to support me and be there, they're going to pay for it to be there.
We talked to some guys, especially when you guys were playing Kentucky. Guys that were from up that area said that they were kind of exchanging UK tickets for South Florida tickets with some other players. With you and Coach Woody especially, do you guys go down and does the same type of thing happen with coaches that you maybe trade off a little bit? You'll take their South Florida tickets and then get your tickets somewhere else?
No, I would think as a head coach I shouldn't have to do that.
Okay.
Maybe the assistants do it with one another. I would hope being a head coach I don't have to do that with those guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, whatever allotment I get, I'm gonna use that. Use all the people I can in there, and the rest. They have jobs; they can pay for a ticket again at one time. So hopefully they care about me enough and our football team to come do that. But I think they will. I've been getting a lot of phone calls and saying you're gonna have a nice showing there. So we'll see.
Injury-wise, Mark Santor got shook up a little bit there. What do you guys know about? He came off. I don't know if he came back in, but he was down there for a bit. What happened to him? What's his situation?
To be honest with you, I don't know right now. I know later on today he just hurt his neck in that game, but I saw him afterwards, and it wasn't as bad as it looked on the football field. So he's getting reevaluated today. We'll know more afternoon today.
So it was a neck and not like a concussion or anything?
Yeah, I mean, out there was more than neck. I mean, he got hit. You watch it on film. It could have been a concussion just the way he hit, but he moved around pretty fine. At first, you look scared, like, oh, what happened? But he'll be fine.
Is there anyone else came away from that one with any significant bumps and bruises?
Got some tough guys.
Sounds like.
Some tough guys. If they're hurt, they'll be back quick. You know why?
What's that?
Because they don't make them like they used to. Our guys are different. They're not like the average pro. Doctors say they'll be back 5 weeks. They'll be back in a week. They heal differently. Guys are like they heal differently. And that's the kind of guys we need around here. Guys that just heal. Not like that little Joe that walked down the street. It takes about 5 or 6 weeks to heal up. Our guys get back quick. They just heal differently.